the script says headed down south, but I doggone well know that Texas is not south. It's Texas. Fox Business, Lauren Simdaddy joins us now. Hey, Lauren.
I'm not touching that, Dagan. You're
Texas
right,
is
wrong.
Texas.
I'll proceed.
It's not the South. And Texans get offended, not
All right.
Southerners.
Well, this New Yorker does think that Texas is the South, and I love it. And guess what? It's time to short the North, Chicago, and long Dallas, Texas. So the iconic New York Stock Exchange will soon officially relocate its 143-year-old Chicago branch, and its new site for digital trading will be in Dallas, Texas.
We have no state income tax. All of our elected officials work very hard to keep property taxes low and opportunities high for small businesses, entrepreneurs. All kinds of businesses are coming to Texas. We are very conscious that you have to be able to make a good salary, live in a safe place, have a place for your children to grow up and go to school, and your family to thrive.
The financial world seems to be thriving in the Lone Star State. Another exchange, the Texas Stock Exchange, they'll open in Dallas with plans to start trading next year. This completely shocked me. Texas has over 1 million people already employed in financial services and investment banking. That compares with 963,000 in New York, which is home to Wall Street. But guys, it's not just the big financials making the move, taking advantage of friendlier regulations and no state income tax. Many large corporations, from industrials like Caterpillar to tech giants, Tesla, Oracle, they have relocated to Texas since 2019, making the decision to ditch the high-tax, highly regulated states, Illinois, California, and New York. This in addition to the many who already call Texas home. Energy giants, airlines, more than 50 Fortune 500 companies are headquartered in Texas. And when you think of Texas as an economy, it's the 8th largest in the world. So that means it's bigger than Russia, it's bigger than Canada, and it's appealing to a lot of companies and people because the cost to do business is lower.
The cost, and it's run by sane people. Thank you so much, Lauren.
And a good labor force.
Yes, fantastic people down in Texas. You do not want to make them mad, ever. Meanwhile, Chevron ditching California, can we all say hallelujah? The company's home since 1876 for, you got it, Texas. This split has been building for years. California's aggressive climate policies driving the two sides apart, like banning gasoline-powered vehicles. So all new cars sold will be electric by 2035. To make matters worse for Californians, the highest gas prices in the nation could be getting higher. Chevron also considering ceasing production at its California refineries, which account for about 1/3 of California's gasoline supply. So California and Gavin Newsom, don't be jerks and don't bite the hands that feed you. John, on this is how it went down. That when Chevron was getting ready to announce the decision that it was leaving California after more than 140 years, the CEO, Mike Wirth, tried to reach Gavin Newsom for about a week, more than a week. He finally texted him and said, "We're about to make an announcement. I'd like to tell you about it before you read it." And Gavin Newsom replied, "I don't need to talk about it. I'm good."
Okay.
So again, and Mike Wirth told Governor Abbott in Texas, "I don't even need any incentives to get the heck out of here because it's run by a bunch of socialists."
So it's not where he's going, it's where he's running from.
Yeah.
That is his motivation. Look, I'm a national business guy, and we've owned restaurants all over the country over the years and other businesses. I won't do business in California. I won't do business in California. Workman's compensation, liability, employee liability, general costs of doing business, regulatory issues, massive environmental issues, some completely absurd. It is such a hostile business environment. There you go. Governor Newsom didn't care enough to take that call or engage in a conversation. When a state doesn't care about business, they lose business. Look at other states. Look at Texas that have an orientation, a mentality to be business friendly. And the end result is going to be the businesses are going to flock to the climate that supports them.
It's the socialist cocktail of arrogance and moronicy.
Yes.
That where they will drive away what is good for the state.
Right. They don't
Like
care.
restaurant owners and chains and Chevron. Jackie.
It's really interesting to me because as someone who's covered oil and gas for a really long time, the reason that Chevron was having its headquarters there was because California was very different back then. They had significant investment there. I think they would have liked to ultimately stay there, but they couldn't. And obviously we know there are certain red states, Texas being one, that treats businesses better. But also Chevron made an announcement today that they're laying off 20% of their global workforce. These are companies that are, they're massive companies, but yet they're also facing the challenges that every other small business and you and I at this desk are facing day to day. And that'll be 8,000 people on a corporate basis. If it includes the service stations, it would be another 5,400. And so it shows you that companies are feeling that pinch. They're trying to figure out whatever they can do, even if it seems desperate to move your headquarters to a state that is more business friendly. These are dire times.
Well, and you think about people moving and companies moving, and that's such an important part of the story. Then you think about like the infrastructure of capitalism actually moving, and that's a huge deal when you have companies saying we're not going to incorporate in Delaware, we're going to do it in Texas, or you have stock exchanges saying we're going to move out of Chicago and into Texas. That's like shifting the center of gravity in America. It is, but here's what's interesting. It's happening. People have complained about these things for years, but it is actually now happening. And that isn't just like a little blip on the radar. It changes actually the radar of America, so to speak.
So think about this. Think about this. It's very costly to move. It's a real pain to move.
Yeah.
New labor force. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to do this as a CEO. Think of how hostile the environment must be to cause a CEO to make that decision.
Newsom sued Big Oil.
I will not stand up for my California. I agree with you, but let's also throw Minnesota down the toilet with me as well. You're equally as bad, Brian. The only other thing I will say, fiduciary duty. And John, you know this. Every business, every company has a duty to make money, to do what's right for their shareholders. And if that is leaving hostile socialist states, then Dagan, so be it, and they do it.
#1 consumer of gasoline, too, Texas. Coming up after the break, John, thank you so much. Lawmakers grilling Trump's education secretary, pick Linda McMahon, as the White House prepares to dismantle that department.
Let's put parents in the driver's seat.